My wonderful viewers, my sweet dreamers. Today is October 14th. Happy month of Halloween 2021, everyone. I decided to make a video sharing some various Halloween or thriller slash horror movies and shows that I like or might like to watch. So let's get started with that right now. Now, the first one I want to talk about is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I've watched this movie a total of 3 times over the years, and it's a little bit gory, but not really compared to some others out there. But it's done in such a comical way. It's a thriller comedy. Evil just messed with the wrong hillbillies. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It's a really well done movie, in my opinion. I mean, I bought it for $5 digitally years ago, and I've watched it several times. It's very well done. It's hilarious, really. And yeah, that's the first one I'm going to mention. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I think that was the movie poster right there. Yeah. And basically they get mistaken for being some kind of murderers, and everything just goes wrong. And these college people who are young and stupid go in there, and there's just like everything can go wrong. Everything can go wrong, does go wrong, and they cause their own demise, but it looks like they're doing it, and it turns out pretty crazy. There's also another one starring, this other one, I watched it about 5 or 6 years ago. All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, and that's a horror and thriller movie. This one did not turn out anything like I expected. There's a major plot twist at the end, and if you'd like to watch it, I'll let you watch it. And yeah, you'll have to watch it yourself, and then I will. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, so All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. It turns out completely different than what you would expect. Then there's this one, starring James Marsden, and I remember him from Enchanted. And let me tell you, James Marsden is a really good actor. This is a horror slash thriller movie. It turns out completely different than you'd expect, takes a lot of turns, and he is a really good actor. James Marsden's on the right. He puts himself into whatever role that he plays. Once you start watching, you just really can't stop watching the movie. Straw Dogs. That's a good one. Straw Dogs is very well done. That's a pretty good horror slash thriller movie. Another one is Carrie, the 2013 version. I haven't actually watched the other one, but the 2013 with Chloe Moretz. She is a very good actress. She also puts herself into any role, and she becomes the role, becomes the character, and you could just see the character through her, and she does a really good job, and she makes a very good Carrie. There's a scene from King of Queens where he said, well, they didn't make a horror movie called Doug. Carrie! That was funny. That was pretty funny. You will know her name, Carrie. That was from 2013. Chloe Moretz did an excellent job as the character. You could just see, it's just very well done. You can see what she's going through and everything. It's just, she becomes the part. Everything that Chloe Moretz does, She does a really good job in all of them. This is actually the most streamed and watched and purchased Halloween movie ever. It's a comedy, Hocus Pocus, and you're probably already well aware of that movie. Most people are. And it's one of the classics of Halloween. It's from 1993, the year before I was born. I actually do own that on DVD. Even if people don't like it, they still watch it at Halloween time because it's sort of like just something that people do because it's that Halloween classic. Another one that I finally got around to watching a while back this year was Jennifer's Body. And it was one that's been talked about since I was in high school. It actually released my freshman year in high school. And it's actually sort of like a high school movie, really. I mean, it's got that feel to it, like, just like you can watch the preview for yourself. And the preview kind of just puts scenes together, that various scenes throughout the movie, and splices them together. It's that Halloween movie, and it's become what they call a cult classic. It's become more popular this year than ever, they say. But basically, she is killed by this band, this evil devil band. They're evil, and they kill her. Then her body gets taken over, possessed by this succubus. But because she wasn't a virgin for real, she was lying about it. Basically the succubus has to. She now has to. It's really gross, technically, but I mean, I don't care for thankfully they don't show much of that. They don't show it. But she has to kill and consume those individuals, these guys, these boys, basically, the jocks. And some of them aren't jocks, but she just does that to gain her power. And she stays alive if she destroys them and consumes them, basically. And she stays alive. That's how she keeps her power and keeps alive. And in the end of the movie, well, I don't want to spoil it. Just watch the movie. Needy, the character Needy, needlessly gets in trouble, basically. And but in the end, she does get out. Spoiler alert, I guess. She does get out of solitary confinement because she got bit by Jennifer, and she absorbed the powers. So, in the end, it set it up for a sequel that never happened, where she was just floated out of the prison, and just because she got imprisoned wrongfully for killing the evil one. So, yeah. But in order to stay pretty and hot, she had to kill all these people and consume them, basically. It was pretty gross, I guess. I mean, yeah, really. But that was the DVD and Blu-ray cover right there. And they're like inseparable, and they were inseparable since childhood. And then that plot line builds, but she never can harm Needy. Then in the end, Needy does away with her and gets caught, so she goes to prison, solitary confinement, then gets released. She doesn't get released. She gets life, but she gets herself out of there using the powers that were given to her by the bite she got from Needy. So it's kind of like, I said no spoilers, but I did it, didn't I? Oh well, so you'll have to look up the information on it in the preview. But yeah, that's basically what that movie's about. But they're like inseparable, basically. They are completely inseparable. You cannot get rid. I mean, you just can't. They're like best friends, and Needy cannot be harmed by Jennifer. And Jennifer just can't get herself to harm Needy, even when she's taken over by evil. But the twist at the end, Needy gets rid of Jennifer. She gets caught by Jennifer's mom and sent to solitary confinement. She gets out because the bite she got from her. She gets out and uses her powers to move on and set up for a sequel, but never did happen. This one's what they actually call a comedy/thriller, I guess. That's what it was categorized as. And this boy right here, they're living in a post-apocalyptic world that was taken over by genetically modified creatures, monsters, bugs that became monsters. and they took over this world. It's ravaged in a post-apocalyptic situation, and he talks on the radio to his girlfriend. They just got together before the end of this world as we know it, and he has to find her, and he goes out on a journey in search to find her through all these creatures, and that's called Love and Monsters. So it's quirky but kind of entertaining. This is a thriller slash mystery movie, and it is apparently from Stephen Sommers, the director of The Mummy. So Odd Thomas, he can see these creatures, these beings, and they said pretend like you don't see them. He can see them, and he calls them the Bodogs, or the Bodaks. He calls them Bodaks, and he has to defeat them in the end. Sadly, something happens to his girlfriend, and it's kind of a tearjerker at the end, so to speak, where he loses her. But I just gave a spoiler, I know. But it was based on the best-selling novel by Dean Koontz, and it's a good movie, in my opinion. I got it for free. I was given the movie on Amazon Prime for free many years ago when it first popped up, back in 2013 when it first released. And it's a good watch, basically. And these creatures are everywhere, and he can see them, and he has to defeat them. And ultimately, there's lots of twists and turns, and it's a love story mixed in with drama, horror, comedy, and all of that. So, but it's ultimately a thriller slash mystery. Here's another movie that I really enjoyed that it just kept me wondering what's going on, from 2013 as well, called Haunter. And she is constantly living the same day over and over with her family. But it turns out the murderer, or the killer who killed her, she has to solve the mystery, and she is the ghost or the spirit, and everyone else is like the ghosts and spirits to her, basically. And she has to escape by finally getting closure from the guy that caused all that to happen. And she's trapped by an evil from her past, as you can see there. Here's the information. The ghost of a teenage girl is stuck in a time loop on the day she and her family were murdered. After becoming aware of her death, she tries to protect a young girl from becoming the next victim of the serial killer who murdered her and her family. And then she finally goes into the light at the very end of the movie. For some reason, I really enjoy this movie. It follows. Basically, she does it with this guy, and it passes this curse onto her, and then she has to, basically whoever you do it with, it passes the curse on to the next person. And you see this thing, and it comes as different people, sometimes loved ones, but it always comes as a different person or entity, and it follows you around everywhere, basically. It can be, parts of it can be gory, but it's, at the end, she has to kill it by electrical shock in the pool. It follows her to the pool, and she has to kill it by throwing electrical items into it. That's how they see it, and they kill it. Spoiler alert, I guess. But basically, she slept with her boyfriend the first time, and she learned that she's the recipient of a curse that passed the victim onto her via that, them doing it. And her friends don't believe her. They don't believe her paranoid ravings. And then she soon sees the phantom assassinations. They band together to help her flee and defend herself from the creature, from the entity. Apparently this movie is coming on tomorrow at 10:55 p.m. on Sci-Fi. Oddly enough, I didn't really like this one as much when I first saw it in the theaters, the first one or the second one, but Boo, Medea Halloween, and Boo 2 actually grew on me. The comedy grew on me after a while, so I actually like them now. Boo 2 was another one that grew on me after a while. Here's another one that doesn't turn out like you think it will at all. 10 Cloverfield Lane. This movie is a really good thriller slash sci-fi horror feel to it. But John Goodman, I mean, John Goodman and all of the actors and actresses do a really good job. Mary, John, Bradley. Yes, Bradley Cooper's in that movie. John Goodman's in it. They're all really good. And it turns out how you do not expect it. Another really good thriller movie is Glass, starring James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, and Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, these are three method actors that really get into their parts, and that it's just it's very mind bending, and it twists. There's so many twists, and it's a definite thriller. That's for sure. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's the way it's done is just amazingly. It's crazy. I mean, you believe the characters completely. So when they say thriller / drama, they're not kidding. It's definitely what they say it is. This one here with Matthew McConaughey is an action fantasy thriller / dark fantasy movie. That's not really Halloween related, but it's a good movie. And Matthew McConaughey plays the Man in Black, a dark figure, and it's very well done, very unique. I'll put it that way. I like it because it's unique and very mysterious and unusual. Of course, it has Idris Elba, Matthew McConaughey, and Abbey Lee Kershaw, Catherine Winnick, Ron Howard, Tom Taylor. These are the actors and actresses. I got this movie for like $1.50, $1.96. I can't remember. I think it was like $2. But I like the movie. I've only watched probably half of it so far. I meant to watch the rest of it another time, but I like the actors and actresses. It's very well done. And then they add this sort of like the Walking Dead theme with it. I like the actors and actresses in The Walking Dead. That's the main reason why I watched that as well. But this was really well done. Pride and Prejudice and zombies. Basically, they took the Pride and Prejudice theme and added zombies to it. There's a little bit of gore stuff in there that is not, I don't care for much, but it's still very well done. And they go the old style talk like this right here. And it's just, the actors and actresses do a really good job of portraying the time period and then adding the thriller / horror aspect to it. This movie is actually more of like, it's titled a